know that there's something so special about you and me, babe. So just say the words, cause you know what it means to me, babe.
Welcome to the Babes in Sports podcast. My name is Jamie Hersch.
I'm Tory Z. Roy. We're two friends navigating being mothers, wives, and successful women in the demanding, male-dominated world of sports.
Yes, and as we mentioned last week, this is almost like the sports equinox, where I think it's typically in the spring where the actual equinox happens, all the sports happening on one day. But right now, it's basically happening because we have everything going on all the time, all at once, which is really exciting.
It's happening. You teased this a little bit in our last show. It's hockey season already, right?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
How was your first game last night? What can we expect from the Golden Knights this season?
Oh man, it was so fun to be back. And even though it was just the first home preseason game, so it was only about a 50% NHL lineup. And the rest are guys who are just trying to, fight for a spot on opening night
Sure.
and stay in the NHL. It was still really fun. And honestly, Vegas has become a true hockey city. It is so awesome. And people who don't live here probably think, oh, most of the fans are like visiting team fans who just want to go to Vegas. That could not be further from the truth. This was a preseason game and it was sold out. I'm super proud to be a Vegas resident now and have the love of hockey just so present in our daily life. And that part was awesome. The team wasn't as great.
Oh.
They lost,
Oh.
but it was still really fun. And for me to step into a newer role as ringside reporter was really exciting. I was definitely a little nervous, but it went really well. And there's nothing like being ringside for a big play or when a goal is scored or even for warm-ups. I love just taking a few moments and like realizing where I'm at and how blessed I am to have this opportunity to be able to be a small part of it. So it was really great.
Do you find that adrenaline rush that kicks in, like, even if it's like, warm-ups or like, when it starts or when great moments happen, that you feel it too and that you're actually a part of that?
Oh, for sure. That's the best part of working in sports, right?
That's the
Is you get
best.
to feel a tiny bit like you are somehow part of the team. And as someone that grew up playing sports, that's the best thing ever to be part of a team. So it was really, really fun. Again, the team I know will be better come this season. We haven't even seen Jack Eichel yet. We haven't seen Mitch Marner, who, for any hockey fans listening, everyone knows that Mitch Marner had a lot of drama in Toronto, his hometown, and they ended up trading him, and the Vegas Golden Knights signed him right away this summer to a max deal, and he's expected to be an amazing player with Jack Eichel. So I have very high hopes, especially the Pacific Division is not the toughest. It's not the most competitive division in hockey, I'll say. So I think there's a real chance that the Golden Knights could repeat as Pacific Division champs again. So hopefully that's the case, and I'll be along for a really fun ride.
Well, I'm really excited to hear too as we go along in the season, right? All your experiences and interviews, and I want to hear all about it. I'm so excited for this opportunity for you. And guys, Vegas, legit for the sports scene right now, and it's only getting bigger. Outside of the Knights, there's the Aces, there are the Raiders. And Jamie, what's coming up next?
Oh, baby, baseball, Major League Baseball. We've had AAA baseball just down the road for me, which is an awesome venue and super fun for the kids. But to have a Major League Baseball team here, still a few years away, but the A's are coming. And my son, coincidentally, happened to be named the A's. You know how Little League picks a bunch of different teams? Well,
Oh, no.
they're the A's. So they're so excited because
meant
now,
to
and
be.
I'm excited because I can buy A's gear and I won't just use it this fall. I'll hopefully use it down the road as well.
Outside of the Sphere and the Backstreet Boys.
Right. Sphere. Little known fact for anyone listening. Apparently, you're not supposed to call it the Sphere. It's just Sphere.
This is why we're here, everyone.
Tori, what are you doing these days?
What am I doing these days? I am going down to Philly this week to work on a long-term, long-form project on the movie Rocky. Since I'm going to be down in Philly, it's like, you know what? While I'm down there, I guess I'll just visit the Philadelphia Eagles. For anyone who might have missed it, yeah, right? They're right there. Week 3, Philly was down 19 points in the third quarter of their matchup against the Rams. Shut out LA for the rest of the way. Insane comeback. So fingers crossed. We're hoping to get both Jalen Hurts and Coach Nick Sirianni to take us through that comeback, through what they're looking forward to for this season. So yeah, I'll be in Philly for 2 days doing that hotel life,
We love that hotel life.
We do.
An actual shower, uninterrupted, maybe time to shave your legs. I don't even know. I mean, things that just don't really happen very often in my world.
I know, right? That's got to be a special occasion if you're doing that. Let's be real.
Well, we actually are deciding to take a break from the amazing guests we have. We had a couple lined up actually, and we can't wait to share those with you soon. But we were discussing how, Tori and I just like to chat too. We're best friends. So we want to just have this space be a chance for us to share our thoughts as well. So we wanted to take a break and talk about some things that are pretty important. So let's get to it.
Let's do it.
All right, I guess if there was a theme or a title to this, it would be Know Your Worth. So, story time here for me. I had a cushy, high paid, salaried position for the last decade, but decided that it would be fun to leave that all behind for the sake of really what we thought was best for ourselves and our kids. And that was moving across the country to be closer to family. That was a huge life decision that it took a few years for us to really come to, but we did. We made the bold choice to move west without any assurances for my job. My husband still was able to keep his job, and that was why we kind of had that safety net. But in terms of me leaving that career behind, I definitely had some thoughts of like, wait, am I actually going to not work in sports? Something that I've literally worked my whole life to create this career. And I had to grapple with that question. And I am very thankful that things worked out the way they did, where I've been able to continue working in sports. But it has been a challenge, to say the least, to enter into this new freelance world that I haven't been in for many, many years. On top of that, I decided to fire my agent about a year before we moved because, that all checks out and seems like a really smart idea. But for a variety of reasons, it just wasn't working out. And I felt like I could represent myself better than this person was representing me. And I could keep 100% of my pay, which sounded pretty good as well. So all of that to say that I have now had the fun, quote unquote, challenge of representing myself and having tough conversations about compensation, about expectations, and why I'm worth hiring. And it has been actually better than I would have expected. Hard, right? Like it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I guess all that to say that I thought it'd be fun for you and I to kind of just discuss this idea of knowing your worth and how to have those tough conversations. And even if you're not negotiating a new contract, but just for anyone listening, like who might be out there saying, I think I really should be in line for a promotion and they might not come to me. So how do I come to them and ask for that? Before we get into any more, have you ever had a hard time negotiating or standing up for yourself when you think that you deserve better?
I want the world where they come to me. I really am. I love that. Yeah, my situation is different in that sense because I've never had an agent. You and I took kind of different paths to get to the same goal in terms of our longevity and our passions. For me, it was always kind of just work hard. Right. The athlete's mentality that was always kind of stamped into my brain as like, okay, the harder you work on your fitness, the harder you work on your serve, the harder you work on your game in general, you're just going to win. Right. Like you're just going to get better. You're going to win more matches and then more opportunities are going to come. You're going to get a higher ranking. You're going to get noticed by sponsors, by colleges offering you things. All you have to do is work hard. That's it. Right. So I took that mentality, through college and then into my professional life. And I was just like, okay, all I have to do is work hard. And I will get noticed and I want me. And again, we speak only of the industry that we know, but I do feel that it could apply to any industry. But I kind of had to fight initially, which sounds so strange to say. Like I should be working on tennis. Like it kind of makes me laugh when I think about it.
Wow, it makes me laugh.
Right? Because that's what I do. But when my first year, I had to literally like bang down people's doors just to talk to me and know who I was, to be like, hey, here's my resume. I actually know a lot about tennis, and for them to finally be like, oh, okay. And it took a long time. It took like 6 months. And I remember too, they didn't even tell me in person. I literally got an email. I'll never forget it. That said, welcome to the Australian Open. Here's your travel information to go to Australia this year. I remember sitting at like my workstation being like, you see this? And that's what everyone wants to see, that someone else is going to Australia. Right. So yeah, it's a little different, but I had to learn that lesson at a really young age because when you're first starting in the industry, like you kind of know the same things as everyone next to you, right? Yeah. So how do you stand out to give yourself opportunities? And I really just thought, I work really hard. Yeah, so does everyone, dude. Like, you got to do more than that because no one is watching you. So I wish that I could say that was the end of it, but for every new thing I wanted to do, If it was different than what I was currently doing, I really had to sell myself, which I am not
Mhm.
good at doing, if you can't tell from how much I hate talking about it right now. To sell yourself, right? And that's kind of where you find yourself now. So silly to me.
Yes. I mean, you have to. And it's hard because I think innately, maybe I'll just speak for myself, but like we have a little bit of imposter syndrome. I
Yeah.
don't know where that comes from. I mean,
Uh,
I've definitely at this point I've worked through that enough to say, I know what I'm talking about and I'm deserving of these opportunities and et cetera, et cetera. But I have very often felt like, well, but I don't deserve this or I should,
what the hell is that?
I don't know, and I feel like it is more of a woman problem than a man problem.
Huh?
Again, we're not coming to you with answers in this episode. That was never really the goal of this conversation, but because really I don't have the answers, but I definitely have lived experience where other women I've talked to about this, whether it's in the industry, outside the industry, we share this sense of like, oh,
Mhm,
just kind of stay in your lane and like,
mhm.
don't be too pushy or you'll be labeled too aggressive or a bitch,
She's
or any like
crazy.
it's a very real phenomenon.
Mhm.
And so I guess what I wanted to do was have this conversation, but also maybe just come up with some tips that like I've found useful. And maybe if you have some that you can throw out there for anyone listening to relate, because I think it is a very real phenomenon that is not talked about enough, that women, for whatever reason, have a harder time asking for a raise, asking for a promotion, even asking for time off or whatever it may be. And so for me, I guess my biggest thing that I've had to come to terms with is like, I need to be my own advocate, and that needs to start by me believing that I deserve more. And so I've had to come up with lists even sometimes where I will literally write down like why I'm deserving of this position, why I'm deserving of this rate or salary or whatever, or number of games, and come up with like an actual kind of game plan for how I'm going to present myself. And I
Mhm.
think as long as you do that and as long as you come with facts, and you come with everything to back up what you're saying, it's not going to come across as pushy or bratty or whatever the other words may be to describe us, because that is the biggest thing, is just knowing your worth and believing in your worth so that you can then present it in a way that convinces your boss or the person you're hoping will hire you that you are worth that.
Yeah, and I think another word that I would use is arrogance, right? Like,
Mm.
there's this fear of arrogance, and I don't
Yeah,
know why, because
right.
there's a lot of arrogance out there, right? And
Yeah, especially in sports.
people are not shy about it. So why are we shy about it? And look, there's different
Right.
ways to go about it, right? Maybe I should say we think that we're coming across as arrogant when we
Yes.
should be projecting, and we probably
Confident.
are projecting confidence. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Well, it's confidence. It's not arrogance, but we have this fear of coming across that way because we want to be liked, you know?
Yes, exactly. We wanna be liked. That's really what it comes down to. We wanna
Look,
be
there's nothing
liked.
wrong with that.
No,
I get it.
no.
But how do we get past that kind of insecurity? Like,
Yeah,
it's okay to come across a little confident, a little cocky, and yeah,
yeah,
maybe to someone it rubs them the wrong way. Okay, right? Like Jess Mendoza said last week, who gives a crap? Like,
yeah.
that's what I want.
I love
That's what
that.
I need.
Yeah, I know. There was something I read recently that said, "I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but that's okay. I like coffee better anyway." And I
Yes,
was like,
yes.
"That's
It's so
so
good.
great." And I'm a fellow coffee lover. So yeah, I like to think that, especially in what we do, I like to think of it as an art form, frankly. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I know, especially when it comes to play by play and the amount of feedback, quote unquote, that I've gotten, especially
Oh,
when I call
yes.
a man's game. Like when I was calling NHL network games, there were very few positive comments and very many negative comments like, why is this woman calling a man's game, et cetera, et cetera. And so I luckily like
What
I've
was it
gotten
50
past
years
that.
ago? Like that?
Yeah, I know. It's amazing how real that
So
stuff
disappointing.
still is.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think it's like being confident and knowing that you are just as good, and also not being afraid to maybe express some areas that you would like to grow in.
Mhm.
I think that can also be a really effective negotiation tactic where you're
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
I know that I can do this job. I also know that I could work at this, this, and
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
And being who I am, I'm going to give 100% until I you know, get better at those opportunities. And I think that level of awareness can also be an invitation to that person then to I don't know, recognize that you're not arrogant, that you're not cocky, that you just are confident and willing to work hard to continue to grow, which is, I mean, if I'm an employer, I would love that. Think about sports. Like that's probably right out of your sports notebook in terms of what athletes should do too, right? Be confident, but be humble and willing to work hard.
Yeah, like just any tennis player will tell you, like after you win a match, you still go out and hit serves. It's the same exact mentality and it's very humbling and it keeps you grounded. So that is such a refreshing attitude to go in selling yourself. You don't want to go in throwing down the door being like, I deserve this because of this.
Right.
Well, no, here's also a good opportunity for me to grow. And
Yeah.
that's a phrase I hear a lot as well. Is like, okay, how are you growing for yourself and how are you growing for the brand, the team, the company that you're representing? Right. That's
Yeah.
a big one too, because you are. The better you are, the better you're going to make everyone around you.
Yes, team mentality. Team mentality. It is so applicable in any walk of life. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
So first step, right, for making a list of things that have helped us, right, is Jamie's list. I'm calling it Jamie's list, right?
Okay. Okay.
Make a list.
Yes. Second step, I would say have a pump up team, a support squad, if you will. For me, it's mostly my parents and my husband, but I run almost everything by them before I have the tough conversations
Oh,
because I I do feel myself just inherently like shying away from, or even if I think like, oh, I deserve this. I'll sometimes in my head, if I'm practicing the conversation, I'm like, but I could also just have this, and I like automatically give away more than I
mhm.
need to.
You show
And
you
so
show your hand already, right? Baby
yes,
joke.
yes. Like I'd be okay with this,
Right.
but I
No.
really deserve this. So getting that like mousy voice out of my head and out of my vocabulary is a really good thing before I actually have the conversation. So
So
my
true.
hype squad has been really important to me in terms of just running everything by them first. And usually they'll encourage me to ask for more or ask for different things. I mean, it's not even just more money. I want to be
Right.
clear with that.
Right.
It's more opportunities
Right.
or different assignments. It does have to do with money sometimes, certainly, but I think, yeah, having that hype squad that can really run you through the conversation before you have it is invaluable.
And that keeps you strong in your conviction too, right?
And it also is really important to recognize that you don't have to know everything when you're saying yes to an opportunity. If you have the right attitude and you know that you're willing to learn and to work hard until you get there, I think that is the part that will separate you from other people. But I guess going back to kind of getting stuck just waiting for an opportunity or waiting for a promotion, like you also have to know when to ask, right? Like you can't just sit there and wait and hope that maybe they'll notice me, maybe they'll give me this opportunity. And then when it doesn't happen, then you're bummed about it. No, like be proactive, I guess is another piece of advice I would say, because people are busy, first of all, right? Like I know I'm busy, you're busy. Anyone who is in a hiring role is really busy and they're not sitting there thinking like, "Oh, who should I bring on for this?" They're waiting for the easy answer and
Uh-huh.
they're waiting for someone to come to them. And more often than not, that is how you're going to get a job. I don't know if I ever told you this, but my first job out of college, I started in local news and eventually was able to transition to local sports, but there were just more jobs in news than in sports. So that's what I started in. But to get that job, I graduated in May, right? And I did not start working until August, which doesn't sound like a long time, but it felt like a long time
When
when
you
you're really
graduate,
worried
yep,
about getting that first job.
it is.
And at the time, this is gonna age myself for sure, but I was making DVDs of my reel, right? My work, that's how you show people what you can do on camera. So we had DVDs and we would literally put them into a sleeve that we would then mail USPS to stations all across the country. So I'm mailing these DVDs of my work out across the country and I'm not hearing anything back. And so I decided I had to drive my car back to my parents' house in Minnesota from LA. I went to USC. So my now husband, then boyfriend, got in the car with me, God bless him, and we did the cross country road trip. But on the way, I mapped out places that might be willing to hire a college grad, like medium to smallish TV markets. So Colorado Springs is one that really stands out. And I remember we'd stop in these places along the way and I would email ahead of time. I would just go online and look up to see if I could find the email address of a news director or a sports director or anybody. And I would send them an email ahead of time and say, I'm going to be in town. Do you have 10 minutes to meet with me? And again, very, very rarely did I hear back. So maybe I would. And if that was the case, of course, I would stop and meet with them. More often than not, I would just go to the station, walk in, and try to make it past the receptionist. I didn't most of the time, and just try to say, like, physically hand them my DVD, because I will tell you that one of the places I stopped in Colorado Springs, I went in, they were hiring, they had a position posted. The news director had a stack of envelopes unopened, probably, I would guess over 100. Over 100 people. Mine was maybe in there, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it got lost in the mail. But I realized very quickly, like, they're not going to just open these and watch my stuff. I need to make them meet me, watch my stuff, give me an opportunity. And so that is my biggest piece of advice for anyone listening who wants to get that first job, is just be proactive, bang down the door however you can. And then eventually maybe something will happen. And that's exactly how it ended up working out. I landed a job in Madison, Wisconsin, which is a fantastic market to start in coming out of college.
It worked out.
Really, really great experience and opportunities. But that was all because I just showed up, even though they weren't hiring, and was able to meet the news director and made a big enough impression that when they were hiring, I got an email back from that person. So yeah, all that to say that it's a weird world out there, but no one is going to come to you with opportunities. If they do, great. I shouldn't say that. But probably not. We are going to have to make our own opportunities. And
If that's the case, come tell us how you're doing that.
Yeah. If you're listening and you're like, everything just shows up on my doorstep. Like, can I get you on the podcast and you can tell us how that happened?
I think, they should be running the podcast then. But that story, you haven't told me that, but it doesn't surprise me, right? One, knowing you, and two, knowing the industry that we work in, though. Like, it's true. Like, no one who's in the hiring position is sitting around being like, I wonder what Tory Roy's doing,
Right.
or whoever is like hiring for giving promotions. And to your point, they get a lot of emails every single day. So if there's something that you want to get done, you got to make it straightforward. You got to step by, make it quick. Like, it's just kind of this known thing. I feel like for when we were starting out, like what we were told to do, this is how to do it. And it's true, unfortunately. And it's not just hard work, because you were certainly doing hard work driving around the country with Matt, dropping off DVDs. That's hard work, right? But it still took a little more than that, which sucks, right? And I think that's, like I said, sports are still always like my first love language, because it's so simple. Work hard and then we win. But I don't know. I do think too that the mentality of confidence, selling ourselves, helps you with everything else in life, right? Like you can take that away from what we had to do to incorporating it into what we do now. And being strong in our convictions. So it's a really good lesson. And it has helped us in the long run, I would say.
I guess it's also the idea that women, being a woman and having those, I guess, and female qualities, if you will, can actually be helpful in the negotiation too, if you do it in the right way. And that is something that I only recently learned when I was trying to read up on this. And so I'm going to just put my little like research hat on here, because something I read that stuck with me is like, women can actually use their skills to be effective negotiators, because they can reframe negotiations for themselves as collaborative problem solving, focusing on future vision, team oriented, leveraging our relational skills for rapport and consensus. And you could even take it another step and say, like, if we're looking out for the betterment of the company, like you said, like that will help avoid backlash too, for just coming across as arrogance. Like, I know it's a tricky conversation, but I do believe that, we as women have certain skills that men don't have in relationship building. And so if you use those the right way, it can be a really effective tool.
And that's so well said, especially when it comes to us being mothers now, right?
Yeah.
Because those are the tools that we have that make us great mothers and make us more receptive to being flexible, collaboration. We have to do that every minute of every day, somewhere in our mind. As you and I are having this conversation, tell me if I'm wrong, we're thinking about 10 other things. Oh, I got to get Sydney in half an hour. Like we're doing all that planning, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's
tomorrow's show and tell. Tomorrow's picture day.
Right. We can't let go of it. So in that sense, that'll help us with these negotiation skills in that, okay, well, here's a solution to that problem if you want this. I just think it all works together.
Well, we don't have the answers. We do have a lot of thoughts. So thanks for listening to our thoughts. And please let us know if you do have the answers. We would love to chat more.
It's our favorite segment of the week. It's the Mom-Barrassing Moment of the week. We've been talking a lot about our kids' sports and getting them involved, which is great, and they are loving it. Braxton likes soccer. He's in a league called Hoboken United here, which is pretty cool, actually.
So cool.
Their kits are really put together. He looks adorable in it. And it's every Friday evening and Sunday morning. They have scrimmage Sunday morning. They do practice on Friday nights. So yeah, I think he's kind of a tall, lanky, kid. So I think it's going to help him hopefully with his footwork and whatever other sports he wants to do, or just in general, right? To just know how to move a little bit more swiftly. And yeah, he's liking it. But I've really made myself known throughout the parents this week because he's just their kids, and they do silly things that they're not supposed to be doing. But he's all the way in the back of this field where they practice soccer, and I see out of the corner of my eye this little spider monkey Braxton is crawling all the way up the fence.
What?
And you know what's going to happen when he does that? All the other kids are going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even think, right? When you just go into reaction mode, and I was like, Braxton, and so loud because it was the only way he was going to hear me. And I could see his head going down, and I was like, Braxton, no, just doing that,
Yeah.
what, I don't even know what to call this, where you put your hands under your
Just
neck.
cut it out motion. Yeah.
Cut it out. Thank you. You know it. A cut it out motion. And he post face dropped down. And I just sat down and I was like, I was really proud of him.
I mean, that's amazing. He listened that well.
Because then all the other kids were going to do it though. And then
Right.
I would have been the enemy. That's who I am now, I guess.
Remember when they were babies and they were going down the slide, and you and I would get mad at all the other kids, and specifically the moms who would not tell them to not climb up the slide. Yeah. And I mean, my kids I will admit, have climbed up slides now that they're older,
Right.
but I try to make sure it's not around little kids because it is not the way a slide is supposed to be made. The slide is for going down, and especially for little kids who are just learning to walk, don't be teaching them to climb up because they're going to fall and it's going to be a disaster. Exactly. And they're only going to want to climb up. And no, a slide is meant for going down. That's my personal opinion.
That's it, sis.
Okay, so mine it's really sweet, but it's also kind of hilarious and humbling because I had my first Golden Knights game, right? I'm all dolled up, and truth be told, I very, very rarely wear makeup in my day-to-day life. Very rarely. And I blame it on years of being a studio host 5 days a week and them just putting an enormous amount of makeup on me to the point where I just now kind of rebel against it. That being said, when I'm on TV, obviously I put a lot of makeup on. So I did that. I get dolled up. I put heels on for the first time in 6 months or whatever. And I'm in my little jumpsuit, and I'm
the one you wore last night?
Yeah.
Yeah. It looked really good.
Oh, thanks. So I come downstairs and both my kids are like, Mommy, you look beautiful. And they're touching my hair and touching my eyes because there's makeup on my eyes. And I was like, this is so sweet. And you guys make me feel so good. But also, what does that say about my day-to-day life? How do you guys think of me normally? And sure enough, this morning I wake up and my wonderful daughter, Cadence, who is very girly girl to the max. She hadn't seen me last night because I got home after she was asleep. So this morning she sees me. She says, Mommy, what happened to your face? And I just burst out laughing. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, last night you looked so beautiful. And I was like, oh my gosh, kids, man, this will humble you real quick. I'm like, nothing happened, honey. Mommy is not working anymore. So Mommy took off all of the clown makeup.
Here I am.
I like your makeup though. And I'm like, well, thanks. So most people do too, but I sometimes prefer not to. So
that's a great one. That is so great. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's okay. I actually do. It's really fun having a girl. And I don't know if Sydney's girly like that too, but that is one of my favorite parts of getting dressed up for work is I will ask Cadence if she likes my outfit. And 9 times out of 10, if it's a jumpsuit, she'll say no because it's not a dress. And only dresses are beautiful.
Obviously.
Yeah, only dresses are beautiful is what she likes to say. And so she's like, it's okay, but I like dresses better. So I'll sometimes change, sometimes not. But it's really been a fun new chapter that we are unlocking.
Sydney is well on her way. She's a little bit younger than Cadence, but she's on her way to that for sure. It's all about dresses and beauty. Everything is beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, so you just want to see their excitement too, because it's sharing that girliness that we don't have together anymore with our other girlfriends.
Yeah.
Like, we have to have it with our daughters now, which is so cool. And I can't wait.
Yeah.
But that's why those little moments are so special. So,
Yeah.
wow, y'all, we could keep going on this, as we said. But, I think it's an important episode today to just be strong in your convictions, be confident, and work hard. But there's still a little bit more that you got to do to sell yourself. So just go for it. What's the worst that could happen, right?
Go for it. Be bold, be confident, get that raise, get that promotion.
Get that money. In the weeks to come on the podcast, guys, we're going to have guest appearances by ESPN Monday Night Features reporter Michelle Beisner-Buck, Houston Astros sideline reporter Julia Morales, and so much more. Thank you for supporting us, and we'll see you next time.